Responding to viewer questions. Let's get into it. Hello, I'm Chris Athenas. Tech Support said they're coming out Tuesday. They really promised this time. We'll see. I'm responding to a bunch of viewer comments. Let me move my thing out of the way here. It was just too many of them to test. After a while, I was just like, I can't type this fast. So I'm just going to respond to them as they've come in. I'm going to refresh to see if there's any more that came in just now. Okay, so we just got one more here. Or a couple more here. So it's getting to be too much to compensate for. All right. So man with no name -T10 on the video. What is legacy code really? Legacy code is not necessarily bad. If you have he says, if you have tested some code that's been used for 10 years, as in 10 solid years of being tested, I'm sure you can write better code, but you don't get 10 years of testing done with your new code. Agreed. And that's one of the things about these legacy projects. Why is my portal stopped? That's one of the things about these legacy projects that's pretty annoying is hold on here. What the hell's going on? All right, that portal was acting funny. Okay, yeah, so something to think about. Yeah, of course, but every legacy project I've ever been on, which I've been to basically most of my career is coming on to another person's project that's either been abandoned, or the team got fired, or the one guy that brought it in, he's no longer with it. He doesn't want to mess with it no more, and there's no testing at all ever. So what do you think he means here with Man with No Name says here? I think what he means is like it's been in production for 10 years, so obviously it's working, whatever that means. But if it's just perfect, I mean, don't mess with it, right? That's the COBOL systems running the IRS. You know, that's the theory they're running on. But, yeah, something to think about. If you're going to be trying to update it and change it, and the way applications have been written in the past, which everything's all intertwined with everything else, and it may be really far away and not obvious what things are being related to what things. And if you push over here, you're going to prod over these places because these things are tightly coupled. So that's been the issue with these legacy systems when you're working on them. So it's very tricky without testing to update these systems. There's a lot of manual testing. There's a lot of like, we hope it works. There's a lot of like, we'll push it out to 1%. And but a lot of these systems, they really should have been set up to be tested in production. That's the other thing too, and have feature flags and all this stuff. But it's not set up like that. So these are just new things that came on after the fact. Like, hey, this would be so much easier to change and manipulate and update and modify and fix bugs if we had tests that we knew that when we did this thing, we didn't have to run all these manual tests, right? Which is every single job I've been on. It's all been this manual testing stuff because I'm doing Android front end stuff. Back end stuff, it's not as bad, but it's still it's an afterthought because people are doing this work in sprints. Remember Agile has everything's done in sprints, so going as quickly as possible. Not really thinking about how to make the code readable, maintainable, updatable, extendable. That's been way down on the list because they're just trying to get to the market, right? They want to get to the gold field first because what they've been told is when they get there first, then they'll have it. And that's not quite the case. In fact, all they've done is shown the market and where it is, how big it is, and one way to address it. And it's all open for direct competition just because of this kind of stuff. These companies not willing to let go of their legacy code base. We got billions of dollars in that thing. It's like, yeah, I know. But it's also a pile of crap because it was written in a way that was obviously people complaining at calling it legacy because they can't fix it, they can't update it, they can't maintain it. It's all falling apart. They have no idea how it works. But anyway, so might be better compartmentalize the legacy code and make our face. Yes, this is exactly right. You're going to do it piece by piece. That's how I've done it. That's how everybody does it, piece by piece. But the problem is we could have skipped this step if it would have been made testable and maintainable from the start, but that's very rare. Now that's the next phase of software development we're going to get into is we're going to be doing more of these because this problem is now so well known. Well, the companies that will come up and take these people's lunches are going to be aware that maintaining them is like 70% of the life of the software and the costs. So making it testable, making it test in production using feature flags, end-to-end testing. So if we put something into production, we're just like hoping it works. It's like we don't know it's working because we're testing in production. So setting up your systems ahead of time to do that stuff takes forethought. Okay, Viator Rem DFA. I love the name. Writing on glass. Okay, this is my little meme here. Writing on glass feels weird. New ink. I don't know what he's talking about technology here. I was just talking about pen and paper. A piece of pencil was my first computer. All right, never mind. Okay, let's keep going. Ryan Whitley. Chris, I'm loving your videos. I'm totally sold on ADD. I'm not selling ADD, by the way. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just saying this is what I've noticed working in these environments. This is not ADD. Adventure-driven development is not prescriptive. It's descriptive. It's the attitude that people have when they're creating these types of products, new things. It's just what I've seen over and over, and it seems to be a pattern that can't be sidestepped. Exactly how I do my own projects, most people do, and it's a lot of fun. Exactly. Plus, your infectious laugh, so you coming back for more. Well, I really appreciate that. I can't control my laugh. My mom gave it to me, and it's bad. I don't know. I've had bullies really give me a hard time about my laugh, but I don't give a shit at this point. Okay, so sprints, the biggest mistake in software development. Extreme Go Horse is not extreme programming. Extreme Go Horse is a hilarious Brazilian meme. Go read the manifesto. Actually, he posted the manifesto. I tried to read it, but it's Brazilian. It's Brazilian humor with Brazilian context. I'm sure it's super silly, have like great fun if you're Brazilian and you're a software developer in Brazil, because it seems to be that culture's meme of kind of what I'm talking about, adventure driven. But I wouldn't use it as a description. It's more like a meme around this thing as opposed to more of a describer. But I appreciate the impetus behind it, like the driving force behind the Go Horse, Extreme Go Horse. Okay. What is legacy code really? And Oscar Erickson 9414 says, yes, exactly. If the MVP works and you have to upscale it, rewrite the thing. Yeah, please do. You're going to save yourself a whole lot of hurt. That'll make a much better product because now you know what you need in terms of loan balances, security, frameworks. You have a much better understanding of why you need that kind of technology you need. Exactly. It's a lot of this stuff is cost. You want to make the thing as efficient as possible and as minimally costly as possible. And a lot of it's just like figuring out what you might need and then coming back to what you actually did need, right? Like that's kind of part of this whole thing. Like you look at the progression of like rocket engines from the time when they first started getting, powering men to go on the moon, okay? And then what they look like now, it's just like a paring down of things. It's not adding on stuff. They're paring stuff down, making it more efficient, throwing away systems that are redundant, putting things together in such a way that you don't need moving parts, etc. Okay, so you can dump the mistakes of the Yankee solutions. Exactly. That's the whole process. It's like explore. It's courageative, explore development. So the courage to write it in the first place, and you're exploring through it. And then once you find a path up, instead of going up the rope branch, going up the mountain along with ropes, you put a little escalator up there. That's like kind of the theme. You put concrete, you reinforce it, and you have guardrails and security stops, all that stuff. All right. This is what I always try to say. People, they just look at me like I speak Mesopotamian. I'm like, I know. Do you know how much money we spent on that source code? No. You might have spent money on the tacit knowledge to get the source code produced. You spent money on, okay, here's what you spent money on. This is really hard for people because they can only see what's physically in front of them, even though this stuff isn't physical at all. It's all still like virtual idea space. Right here. Where is it? Right here. Pyramid of results. Okay. What you're paying for. Here. I'm going to zoom on this thing. Right here. So what you're paying for is the experiences of the developers that they bring in and have in developing whatever the thing is you're making, that then form beliefs about how these things are supposed to be done because they try certain things don't work, certain things do work. So they have these beliefs, even though they might be right or wrong, who knows? But that will take them actions to implementing the belief patterns that they've developed. This is stuff you can't see. You can see the actions, right? You're not going to see all the beliefs and the experience. Well, you can see the experiences, but it's very costly to go walk and follow each person around as they go through life. It's kind of impossible. Kind of impossible. Well, like, this is where they come from. So they are seeable, but to see all of them, and then but the actions you can usually see because everyone's in the office. I can see you working. I can see the PRs coming through. I can see the commits coming through. But that's all based on beliefs. There's no set in stone. This is where the business people that are used to every other business thing being a process, being a work, being a widget factory, right? They're used to that. They're not used to this. Well, what do you mean? It's like, well, the whole thing is like, what are we trying to make the widget factory make? The widget factory is solved. For software that's solved, it's 100% exactly the way we created it, or how we designed it, is how this shows up. Right or wrong, whatever. So that production part is solved issue. I know it sounds crazy, but that's true. So the knowledge work now, it's like, what are we making? For who? Where? Why? What's the context? Who? What's the market? Who's our customer? Is it the VCs? Round 68. We didn't use the alphabet anymore. We had so many rounds of funding. It's like, okay, is it the actual customer? Which customer? The end customer? A vendor? So these actions then drive the results, which is the source code, right? And the source code is like, oh my God, it's the most valuable construct thing. It's like, no, over here is what you're going to get with knowledge work. You're paying for these people. And if people that are like, once under like business and academia kind of understands this is what you're paying for, they'll get off this thing about like being afraid to throw away code. That's why it's, look like Mesopotamia, because we have so much money in that source code. It's like, that's all garbage. I've been around long enough, right? So like my first software I wrote in like 1978 or something like that, PDP 11, in BASIC. Did I have a copy of that? Did I save it? Nope. I got the experience from it though, and I kept going with it. I've lost almost like 90% of the software I've written. Lost. And so is everybody else's. You just lose it. It rots. If you don't have the right model of the right thing, the right build of the right library, it rots. Go ahead and download it just from any Android project from 3 years ago and try and compile it without errors. Good luck. It's just the nature of the thing. So people they have the thing about software is like being expensive. It is expensive to write because you're trying to solve a business problem. Now, solving the business problem is what the value is at. The value is not in the source code. The source code expresses the will to solve a problem for someone at a profitable level. This is what we're working with. It's really hard for people to let go of it. I get it. I understand. It feels like it's really valuable stuff, but it's not. It's not valuable. It's just a problem-solving thing. Like the engines from 1926. Like they still exist. People still use them. My dad has an old tractor from 1943 or whatever. It still works. It still runs. It still does its job. But why don't they sell those? Because of all kinds of other reasons, right? Right? Okay. Now, BB Sarah 0146, he was cracking me up. And there's a bunch of them here. I'm going to try to read through them without dying. Let me see how much I got. 13 minutes. Okay. He writes, for the death of Agile, Alan Holub, part 2 of 2. Okay. Let me get started. Let me get ready to go here. I had a Scrum Master I really liked. He basically printed out our Jira boards and put them around the table. Then he made decorations for each of our places at the table depending on what holiday it was, like Thanksgiving, 4th of July, maybe New Year's and Christmas. I bet you did a real fun one for St. Patrick's Day, etc. He also made name tags for each of us with our nickname or superhero name. That's super fun, right? Oh, God. He would also give us this reishi mushroom drink that was nootropics, and he was big on self-improvement and ice baths. He wanted to get an ice bath installed in the office. He contributed nothing. He contributed nothing to the team, but we all liked him, and he was cool. Okay. MTAG. On the sprints, the biggest mistake in software development. So Scrum is meant to be is meant to happen when there's a stoppage. Yes, when the scrums, the whole thing is like there's something wrong with the production line. We need to get it started, and usually it's not one guy on the production line to get the thing moving again. It's a whole bunch of people. And in Japan, they got everyone involved. Yeah, that's what they did. That was the culture. Not just the people who might be involved, like, or locally, like everyone, the whole line. Boop, they all get on it. They work on it and they sprint, because this is where the idea of sprint, because they want to quickly get the line back online. So the whole idea of the sprint thing is, what do we need to do to fix this thing? Now, I don't know if they use the whole line of people, but they used a lot of people. There was a lot of people involved with this, because they would get everyone together in the morning. It was like the scrum meeting, and they would all talk about this. This is what they did. Okay, this is where this comes from. Okay, yeah, logical, makes sense. Of course, prod is down. Everyone gathers, fix it. Scrum, exactly. They move it along as a group, right? Yes. But when we have these dailies, we're literally scrum every day. There's no daily stoppage, right? It's scrum for scrum's sake. Exactly. It's cargo culting. Someone had a thing they were doing that was kind of coming to the end. The scrum thing was coming to the end, and the agile stuff came on, and they're like, oh, I can jump on that. And they got on to the next thing, and people combine the two together, and they're not together. There was just a thing that was kind of around dying at the time, and there's a whole bunch of people who were on the conference circuit, the conference-driven development, book-driven development, training, certification-driven development, that shit, and they got on it. If you want to go look into it, you go look. I mean, you might have to go through a few layers like I did, because I just got like... The reason I got into this stuff and went down these deep rabbit holes where this crap is I was just so annoyed with people being these were axiomatic things, like a scrum meeting and the sprint planning. Like, these were axiomatic. Like, these had to be done to do software. It's like, no, they don't. And the only way I knew was because I was doing software development before these things were introduced. And that's where I came with that adventure-driven stuff. That's where that's coming from. So that's how I know this crap, or I have an attitude about it, because got a little bit of PTSD from it too. It's like, okay, we have dailies. Okay, there's no scrum. I did a calculation: 15 minutes daily for 20-minute team amounts to 240 man days of labor in a year wasted. It's basically an extra person. So when you say a video game delayed into next year, then it releases bugly or the hell's incomplete. You know why? Exactly. It was a waterfall 6-month sprint at the end. Exactly. They just waterfall the hell of it, and it takes all the flavor out of it. Because the scope got too big, their eyes got too large. They thought they could do everything under the sun for all people, and they realized it's best to do just the one or two things really well for a person. And for most businesses, that's you're actually exceeding expectations by doing that. Okay, I have an account for sprint plans reviews. It's crazy, man. Okay, BB Sarah 0146 on software dev is a cargo cult. Modern software dev is 100% a cargo cult looking to cracking code compliance. I don't know what that is. Google does it, then we should too. Cracking code compliance. Let me look at that. Hold on. So what's this? Cracking code compliance. The secret to high performance teams. Big Daddy 1996 on 2024, just a few days ago. Everyone of the teams constantly searching methodologies to cracking code compliance, a revolutionary approach that combines the best practice of industry giant with a unique twist. By embracing KCCs, the teams can achieve unparalleled performance and cohesion. Here's how. So the core principles of KCC. Kraken's embrace. Adopt practices from the major tech companies without question. If Google does it, it must be good. Holy shit. Shame waves. Publicly shame anyone who doesn't follow KCC guidelines. If you don't KCCC, you'll be bad at your job. Dissent detection. Encourage team members to identify and call out dissenters. This ensures that everyone says 100% pure cargo culting is what they're basically. So this is cargo cult. Yeah, cargo cult coding. That's what it is. Right here, blind adoption, ritualistic stand-ups, initial meetings, shame induction. Yes, this is the this is the modern cargo cult. Yes, cracking code compliance. If Google does it, then we should too. Exactly. Another problem. Okay, BB Sarah again. 0146. I guess he did a binge on my channel. I had a nerve with them. Sprints are the biggest mistake in software development. Another problem with Scrum and Agile is that these platitudes are just these platitudes and processes. That's right, cargo cults. but there's actual evidence that it works. No, in fact, now the evidence has come out. It's like 246% more time on an agile project as opposed to just not agile or figuring out in some other way. It's so crazy. It's like all these things were context free. And boy, I have brought this stuff up at some of these companies, and whoa, I almost got on a pit plan just for bringing it up. Just for bringing up the thing. I was like, hey, what are you doing this for? It's just how we do it. It's just how it's done. It's like, this is how we're doing. It's like, I would ask, like, they shut up. And basically I was asking the people whose jobs it was Scrum Masters and the product owners, which are like, why are you here? Like, what are you doing, actually? And I was accidentally asking them because they seem to be the ones most knowledgeable. And basically I could tell, like, looking back, they took it as I was telling them their job is useless. And I didn't realize what I was saying at the time because I was still kind of like, what is this agile stuff? And yeah, so I almost got a pit. That company went out of business. I'm not going to say which one. But yeah, so I was like, whoops. So that's why I was like, my introduction to some of this stuff was like, what exactly are you doing again? We can see the to-do list on this Jira. It's just a big fat to-do list, right? Well, it's more than that. It's got all kinds of features. Like there's a burn down chart, and it has points for stories, and it has a poker game in it. What poker game? You mean we're playing poker at work? What the hell? But it's not really poker. Because I never played poker like that before. Anyway, let's keep going. BB Sarah. Sprints, the biggest mistake in software. He's all over this. He hates sprints as much as I do. The reason modern software development is so fucked is because a bunch of self-help and life coaches with no actual skills pivoted to becoming certified computers and like inserting themselves in the tech world because they were just down at the pool store shipping chlorine boxes around. They saw on the news, oh, the tech boom, it's amazing. You can become a Scrum Master in 3 weeks. And they were like, let me get on that. That's who they are. And try to add random process and feel like they are helping. Be sorry, yes, you are deep in the pit. You're deep in the pit of the tunnels of fake agile doom, the Scrum Coach death marches, and the cargo culting, and the tar pits of seemingly good ideas, and lava lakes of direct competition of copycats, low price leader. We're going to do a dungeon, or just create a new market. Bandwagon solutions, we build it and they will come. It's kind of like lead mines. Tech solutions looking for a problem. We got NFTs for sale, guys. More servers than customers. Dungeon grind, Jira, burn down, slog, feature factory, waterfall, big design up front, lots of coordination. And I just need to fix a few bugs, improving the legacy projects. This is what he's been down into, just like me. Okay, yes. Another one for BB Sarah, yes. Okay, a real day in the life of a bank software developer. I went down on this kid, but I love him because I hope he sees it. Because he's got some spunk there. He's got some get up and go. But he needs that bank that's gonna kill him. Okay, I never get why the project manager gatekeeps the domain knowledge from the developers. Well, I know the reason why, and like I hope the developers who are making tax software know about taxes, right? Right, and because there's part of this thing where these kids aren't really trained on how the bank processes work, like they can't possibly understand it. It's very complicated. Well, really what's going on is they're doing some little bit of funny business behind the scenes, and they don't really want people to fully understand how the sausage is made. I guess that's what's really going on. Otherwise, they'd be like, whatever, there it is. There's like the ledger, like Bitcoin. Oh, there's the transactions. You can see them all. You can see which wallet went from where to where, and you might be able to figure out which wallet belongs to who. Yeah. But at least everything's like, what else is the bank software? No, we gotta go through layers of security management, and you gotta pass it by a PR agent and a security profile. It's like, guys, whatever. They're doing the nasty business. He'll find out one day how nasty these people have been. It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm shocked and appalled the more people haven't gone to prison for the levels of criminality they're being run from these banks. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying that bank. I'm just saying the system in general is a little bit how you say in Francais, because he's French Canadian. Muy mal. That's in Spanish. All right. A daily life of a bank software developer. Again, BB Star says, I agree the reason for slow delivery is management treating software like it's a production line. Exactly. As opposed to creative industry like making music. When musicians write songs, they literally smoke weed and buy a bunch of snacks and go to the studio and make it. Yeah, exactly. It's not mystery science. Like they're not hunting the stacks for inspiration. They're getting all together, acting goofy, and making this stuff happen. This always done the same way, and you can't replicate it. It's the personalities of the people, it's the time, it's the place, context. It's all kinds of stuff you can't put a finger on. And that's why when it happens and the art comes out, it's quite magical. It's quite like whoa, okay. And it can't. I don't know if you can capture it. I don't think you can make a production line out of that. I don't know how to do it. I think AT&T did a pretty good run at it with their Bell Labs, and then also Xerox did a really good run at it. But the only reason those things worked is because they were outside the corporate structure. They had this whole hierarchical top-down production line thing. It was a free for all almost, and you can only do that for so long because it'll get eaten from the inside. And it's just like when it happens, it's just like enjoy it, and when it doesn't, like toil around down here until you can find it again. I don't know what to say about that. All right. Okay, yeah. They don't have a bunch of project managers hounding them each line of the song. You're like, okay, so this line of the song, are you going to do that in this sprint? Do you think you can do 3 lines or 2 lines this sprint? Can you get 2 lines of this? Can you give me a paragraph and a downbeat and an upbeat, maybe some bass line in there for each line of this song? It's like, Jesus freaking Christ, man. That's what it feels like, too. And I get it. For bank software, it might make sense. But, like, if you're starting to create something new, like coming out, and you're trying to do something different, and you're just trying to explore and find where there's a market where you can fit in and do it profitably, it's not going to come like that. I find extensive PRs. Okay, BB Sarah 0146, again, he's just all over my crap. I find that extensive PRs and code reviews and then having an external offshore QA team in India reviewing stuff is completely useless. I mean, how could it be any good? I mean, the people involved, they think that so all the people involved with sending all these jobs overseas were all MBA trained, and they're all saying all businesses could be optimized, and cost of labor is one of the points of optimization, that they went along with this globalization thing, and they can ship everything overseas, right? Because it's got slave labor over there. It's worse than cheaper slave labor than they have in the United States because they're not giving them shit. They're abusing them and blah, blah, blah. So we go to ship the labor off to markets where people don't give a fuck. And of course the costs are going to be lower. Come on. But, they think they can do that with everything. It's like, no, you can't. But that's the only lever they got. What else are they going to do? Train people up more? Training programs? Oh, that might impinge on my profitability. And it's like, oh, man. All right. If a developer knows that they are held responsible for breaking prod and will do their own testing, will make sure it works. Exactly. This is where a lot of this testing stuff came out of, is people having to do their own support on their own code that they wrote and put into production, as opposed to somebody else dealing with like customer service and QA people and whatever else. Like Ford Motor Company had the same problem. That's why they had all those shitty cars in the 70s, because it started in the 70s. They had this bad problem with the silo mentality, as opposed to everyone working together and trying to figure out stuff as a group, as opposed to this adversarial thing, which is what this turns into. Okay. So responsible for bringing project. When the process oriented way, nobody cares and checks anything unless they tick boxes. Exactly. And that's what makes software development not fun. And a lot of people think this is that standard normal stuff, when it's definitely just a style that got culted in by, I think, maybe nefarious forces. I'm not sure. I have my theories. That they set this up. Said, no, you got to do it like this, because there are these conferences with these books. They don't understand they're being sold. They don't understand by taking away these processes, you might actually gain efficiencies and distrust your people. Or if your business is has untrustworthy employees, you got other issues, man. You got other issues. If you don't trust your employees, you got other problems that honestly, none of this shit's gonna solve. I'm so glad I did not get one of these started out. So real life, it says. So Matt Millie 8287 says, I'm so glad I did not get one of these starting out. It was an 8-hour visit of a pair of code reviewers, and I had to wear a suit. Okay. I mean, if you gotta wear a suit at a software development job, there's other factors going on. And it might make sense for you. It might make sense for what you're doing. I get it. Maybe finance, whatever. But they better be paying you some really sweet coin, and you better understand that your time in that position is going to be limited with this AI crap coming on. How those finance guys like to get rid of people as soon as possible, because they're running some games, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's the current replies. I think it'd be better. Sometimes better to hear me laugh and bitch and moan about this stuff as opposed to just having the typed in. So anyway, I'm Chris Athanas. Give me a like, subscribe.